You know, the trick is getting the blood to the shoulders after you do the legs. That's the trick. Yeah, you heard me. Train the muscles, not the joints. So after training legs, it usually takes me a couple sets or 3 or 4 sometimes to get the blood to the upper body, so totally lose the pump.
So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about bodybuilding stuff. Okay, I know it's a big surprise, right? I'm going to talk to you about bodybuilding stuff. Anyway, what I'm going to talk about is when you should change your reps. Now, I get questions all the time. People are always asking me this, Jason, when should you change your reps? Should you change them every workout? Should you change your rep range once a week? Or should you stick to a certain rep range for a month at a time? Like, what should you do with your reps? How is this supposed to work? Well, the thing is with me is that I go on feel, but that's because I have some sort of experience in the field, right? I know how my body feels, I know how to read it, and I know and I understand a lot of you guys out there do not know when to push and when not to push, okay? So I can give you some general rules, but of course listening to your body is going to be the first and foremost rule, and you have to really learn to do that. Nobody can teach you this. It's just something that will happen over time. Your awareness will expand and you will naturally just get better at this, okay? So first of all, what I would say to you is that if you're trying to gain strength, if you're really focusing on a strength program and you really want to get used to training with heavier weights and doing lower rep ranges, you may feel that you need to stick to a certain rep range for at least a week or two in order to get acclimated to the higher weight. Now, that's a normal thing. A lot of times athletes will stick to some sort of periodization program. Now, the reason for this is that sometimes it takes time for your body to get used to a certain rep range and actually start to adapt to it. And if you're changing it all the time, perhaps that can slow you down. So really what I did was I usually would pick 2 or 3 exercises that I really wanted to gain in strength in, and I would stick to the 7 to 10 rep range for a period of time if my joints and my body was cooperating with that. Now, sometimes I would stick to a low rep range for a period of weeks, sometimes months, but at some point my body would start to resist it. My strength would either start to go backwards, or my joints would start to hurt, or something would start to feel kind of tweaky, or I'd start to feel overtrained, almost like a nervous system burnout. And when this would happen, I knew that my body was telling me that I had done enough heavy weight and now it was time to rep out or to do something different. Maybe take a day off, maybe eat more, maybe I wasn't eating enough or sleeping enough, or I need to increase the rep range for a period of time or change the range of motions. Okay, so there are a lot of variables that you can change around, but I find that there are a few ways to approach this whole rep thing. And one of the ways is that if you want to gain strength, the thing is that you're trying to get used to finding that proper groove with that heavier weight, and sometimes that does take at least a week or 2, if not 3 weeks to a month, to really get used to handling those heavier poundages, which is why when you are handling heavier poundages, I would recommend not hitting failure. And I've talked about this a lot in the last few videos, okay? So this is something that I've been doing myself and I have done throughout my bodybuilding career. But of course, at some point I found that doing heavy weight was great to keep my body used to handling heavy weight, but then I found that my strength endurance and my pump was going up when I started to, in between heavyweight days, do higher rep days. Okay, so this is why I mix the reps up a lot. So the way I train now is that I'll do a heavy day. Sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 heavy days. Let's say I'm doing bench presses and I'm saying, okay, I want to increase my groove for a bit here. I'm going to do 4 or 5 chest workouts in a row with heavier weight, 5 to 7 reps or 7 to 9 reps, something like that. And then what I will do is I'll do a rep out day in between there just to help the recovery get a pump or hit a different angle, right? And then I'll go back to the heavyweight again. But I find that sometimes when I take a break from the heavyweight and just rep out, I not only get better recovery, but I start to get more muscle mass gains and my strength starts to go up because for some reason there's some sort of synergistic thing that's happening in the body. The light weights are actually helping keep the coordination, but at the same time pumping blood in there and then giving the joints a little bit of time to rest. So that's usually how I approach it. So what I'd recommend, if you have some strength training goals or some strength endurance goals, it might be easier for you to stick to a certain rep range for a period of 2 to 3 weeks and just see as you go along, if you increase in weight, if you increase in strength, if you can actually add a few plates onto that bar and get the exact same amount of reps as you go along. Sometimes this makes it very easy to gauge your improvement. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with sticking to a certain rep range for a period of 2 to 3 weeks and then moving to a different rep range from there. Now, it's up to you how to conduct this experiment, but at some point, when you get advanced enough, when you get connected to your body enough, you will notice that when you walk into that gym, you know when you feel like you can have a heavy day or when you can have a little bit of a lighter day, when your body needs to really hit that heavy iron or when your body needs to stay light, when you need to really pump the blood into that area and really get that burn and go deep into that burn, deep into that failure. So it really is up to you, but at some point your body will start to speak to you and you will know inherently how to adjust this as you go along. So at first, start with a template. Figure out which template works for you, which template really feels right to you, or maybe it doesn't feel right to you. Maybe you don't have enough connection with your body to understand what feels right to you, but just try something. Try a rep range for 2 to 3 weeks. And as long as you're not getting joint pain, as long as you're not getting injured, as long as your body feels okay, you're getting muscle soreness, but you're not getting joint problems, then I would say maybe that rep range works for you. If you start to get joint problems though, know this, you need to take some time off or you need to change the rep range to a higher rep range, okay? So thanks a lot for watching. I hope this video helped you out a lot to understand when to change your rep range or how long to stick to a certain rep range. And if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com and take care for now.